Uamuzi huu ulitolewa leo jioni na ni uamuzi katika kurasa 80. Oh my goodness. I have been promoting Africa to the world. I've been telling people that Africa is the place to be. But I feel like we need to give that respect to Alex Chamwada.
Wow. Alex Chamwada.
Yeah, because you have been taking Kenya to the entire world. I mean, I've been watching you for so long, and I can't even believe that I'm interviewing you today. You know, in West Africa, yes, we give respect to where respect goes. So I just have to say, it's such an honor, you know, meeting you for the first time.
You are most welcome, and I also feel proud to meet you. I mean, you've also done quite great. I watch you too, and I say, oh my goodness, that looks like my competitor, but we compliment each other.
No,
and I like the fact that
boss, and I'm still learning from him.
Yeah. Welcome to Nairobi.
Thank you so much. But Nairobi has really changed, though.
It's changed. I mean, look. I think a year from now, this place was not like this. Yeah, it was not like, I mean, yes. And this place, you'd find it's just busy, you know. It's getting greener. I like it. I mean, there is some order.
I think we need to give a big shout out to the mayor of Nairobi for changing the face of the city.
Yes, we call him the Director General of Nairobi Metropolitan Services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nairobi Metropolitan Services.
A lot of people watch your shows, but they don't know who you are. They don't know your story. And that is where WODEMAYA is here today. Tell us who you are and what you really represent.
Alex Chamwada is a village boy. I was born in Western Kenya, in a county called Vihiga County. I'm a son of a pastor, I would say a village pastor with Pentecostal Assemblies of God, not a big national church, and my upbringing was Christian, with Christian values. My mom was very strict. I went to school in Western, primary school, secondary school. Let me say about the secondary school, St. Peter's Mumias. I mean, my colleagues should be proud to hear I'm mentioning the school, St. Peter's Mumias High School. And then I went to Moi University. I studied information sciences. The things we studied at that time in that course was to do with the librarianship and a bit of publishing. At that time, you know, I really wanted to be a journalist, but the course didn't take me directly into journalism. So eventually I did a postgraduate diploma in mass communication at the University of Nairobi. And before then even I was already on air. I started volunteering for the national broadcaster KBC in 1994. At that time I was still in Moi University, just like a joke. On a trip in Nairobi, found myself in the studios, and a friend of mine called James Maura, I'll always give respect to him, put me before the microphone, and that evening he put an insert in his radio show, and that's how I began going on air in 1994 on radio.
That was your first show?
It was an insert, just a short insert of 1 minute, 2 minutes. But I continued to send him stuff from Moi University, you know, on rudimentary technology, sending a cassette through post, through mail, through even the bus. We used to have a bus called a Kamba bus, just sent as a parcel. Record myself on the normal cassette recorder and send my voice to Nairobi from Moi University. That's how I began.
Were they paying you for that?
No, it was voluntary. Nobody was paying me for that. Before radio sector, I did some stuff in the publishing industry with the foundation that used to promote children's publications, and I was active in the book industry. So that's where I got some salary. So I got some employment, but when I started my postgraduate diploma in mass communication, I took a study leave, and then after the studies in 1998, I joined KBC as a radio and TV reporter for a couple of months, and then joined Royal Media Services in 1999, March 1999, as their first reporter, Royal Media Services in 1999. Alex Chamwada, Citizen, Abidjan. So that was my second job. Then things evolved. I mean, and then I found myself doing masters in politics and the mass media through a scholarship, the Chevening Scholarship. Liverpool University in the UK. I mean, it's a long story. I worked for KTN at some point, and then eventually I back to Citizen. Then I resigned in 2014 to begin my own company, that is Chams Media. Greetings from Hargeisa city in Somaliland, one of the safest places in the world. You won't believe. You can walk with your cash in the streets, even your phone. Nobody will bother. Nobody will snatch it away from you.
Why would you, quit your job or resign to start your own stuff?
First, I'd grown in the industry, of course, as a reporter, became a very prominent political reporter. But then at some time I felt I'm not growing. I'm confined to the normal content in the newsrooms. I'm confined to sensation. I'm confined to politics. Is it a business trip? Is it a public relations trip? Is it all about the news scramble for Africa? Is it a homecoming? I felt I need now to control my story. So then in the newsroom I was not really in charge of my story, and I wanted stories that impact on people, and the neglected story in the newsroom, that is the positive story. It rarely finds space in the newsroom. So I decided, let me tell my story, and I can easily tell it by going out, stepping out of the newsroom, and now beginning the journey afresh as an independent content producer.
I think we need to understand how was the transition like.
Nairobi Expressway, 27 kilometers from here in Mlolongo to James Gishuru in Westlands, a project that is expected to decongest the city of Nairobi.
Resigning, now coming back to work on your own, was it that easy?
You've asked a very good question. Was it easy? No. Because now when I was outside, then I thought it would be easy for media to embrace my content. Oh man, it was not easy. Every media I went to at that time, that is in 2014 to begin with, would be like, nah, who will watch development content? Who is interested in the abroad stories? I mean, how will we get money to pay you? In a nutshell, they were saying there is no commercial value in your content. It is very rare to have a casual and planned conversation with a head of state in an unlikely place. Recently, while my cameraman Eric Mwema Maweu and I were filming here at the Michuki Park, President Uhuru Kenyatta walked in unexpectedly. On noticing me, the president acknowledged my contribution in content creation on development matters. Then we started strolling together around the park. I had many meetings with the editors, and they were not seeing it. But thank God, then when KTN News Channel began their second channel, which is purely current affairs, so the editor there, Joe Ageo, saw the essence of this content to be on their channel. And of course, it received support from the management and even the board. So that's when they embraced my content and said, come on board, we can have 2 shows from you. That's how Daring Abroad now began going on there on KTN News Channel. We had another show called The Chamwada Report. So I was doing those shows as an independent producer, and they pay me as a supplier. And that is a case study of never say die. When did you hear about me first?
Come on, you know what? In 2020, in 2020, last year 2020. Last year was 2020. I came to Kenya November, and that's when I got to, because I came to do positive stories out here. And out of the positive stories that I did, one of your stories showed up. I'm like, oh, this guy is actually doing what I'm doing, you know. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Is there any way we need to link up so that I'll be able to learn from you? I mean, we learn from each other in a way that we'll all be able to project Africa to the world. Wow. That is why.
And coincidentally, also I started watching your stuff, and they sent you a message on Twitter, a DM. And within minutes, you had given me your telephone number. Exactly. I was in the US at that time. Yes.
Because already I've seen your story. So when you send me a message, I'm like, is that a coincidence? And that's why I'm like, you know what? This is my number. Let's keep in touch. Anytime I get to Kenya, I will definitely find you.
Yes. Today I'm gonna go easy. and share my travel experience out of a round trip to a country I'd never visited. And this is a teaser of what is coming up.
What really inspired daring abroad? I mean, what inspired you to go out there and bring those positive stories to Kenyans in here and even Kenyans across the globe?
First, of course, you know, the typical news is likely to be negative. Who killed who abroad? I mean, who was kicked out of job abroad? The families that are breaking abroad, the marriages breaking abroad. But remember, I'd been in the newsroom for a while, so whenever I would go for official stories, like I covered the US elections in 2000, yes, the 2000 elections in the US, I covered 2008 elections in the US, I've covered many international events. I covered, of course, South Africa elections, interviewed former President Zuma just after he had been inaugurated. I covered Kenyan cases at The Hague, I mean, at the International Criminal Court. So when I was abroad, I would come across Kenyans. I would come across a Kenyan owning a restaurant and just selling Kenyan food, you know. And I would come with those stories and I push for the stories to be aired on TV, but they don't get space. Then I would get frustrated. Then I just wanted the world to see that there are Kenyans doing well, you know, abroad, but not necessarily to pitch that abroad is the place to be. It's just to tell the journey so that they share the experiences. And Kenyans here to learn what's happening abroad through my stories, so that I can take Kenyans to the world at the fingertip or just in their living room, so that they're able to see the world. And our motto is that you can travel the world through daring abroad. You don't need a visa. Come see the world through daring abroad. So it's sort of exposing the world to Kenyans, and the fact that we can learn, for those who want to go there, what are the do's and don'ts, because abroad is not necessarily heaven. True. So also just to be an informative series where people need to know. If you want to go to be a student, learn from the experience of one who went as a student. What are the things that person did right or whatever? What are the do's and don'ts, so that it's not just a rosy picture of it's all rosy abroad.
We used to think it's easy here, life it's easy here, but it's not. It's tough. Especially, you know, before people used to come and, you know, like you're gambling your life. You want to go there and see how things are going to turn out. But if you have, what I would say, if you have something better in Kenya, you're doing okay, then I think there's no point of coming here and living some of the conditions people live in here. Yeah.
Secondly, by extension also, showcasing Kenya to the world and showing Kenya's potential to the world. So my purpose was to really bring out the Kenyan story abroad and educate Kenyans through the experiences of Kenyans living abroad, and by extension show the impact the Kenyans living abroad are making on their mother country. The money they send back home, what's the impact? The skills and knowledge transfer. So it's not just going abroad. You know, there used to be something like brain drain, but there's something now we call brain gain. But they went, we feared it's brain drain, but they gained something. So I turn it around to say it's brain gain. They come back with skills, they impact on the society back home. Yeah. Because again, the other thing we are pushing is behavioral change. It's about us. It's not, it should be government or NEMA.
Exactly. It's about the individual.
It's about the individual.
Yeah.
Yes.
So taking pride in your environment and how you live.
Yes.
But you lived abroad yourself,
yeah.
Right? And how long did you live abroad? How long?
Myself, okay, good question. Living abroad, my first time, of course, let me begin. My first trips was like to Zimbabwe, in Harare. That time I was still in the book industry. That was my first country abroad to jump into a plane.
That is to people from Zimbabwe.
Yeah, that is in 1988. My first trip outside Kenya to attend an international book fair. But then, of course, I started traveling to the nearby countries, Uganda. But my first trip across the Atlantic was to the US in the year 2000 on an internship program with the Voice of America. Voice of America was affiliated to Citizen Radio. Yeah. So it was an exchange program. You know, this is all paid for by American money. So I went there for 3 months, and that was my real experience. Winter. Now, when I used to hear winter, but you know, you can't understand. You tell people winter here, you can't until you feel it. Exactly. Yeah, it's so experienced winter for the first time, and no culture shock. I was lonely just for 3 months, and I was really homesick. You miss so many things, your familiar food, familiar friends. Of course, you'll meet Kenyans there, but it's not the same. So I was there for 3 months, based in Washington, D.C., so I was on internship at the Voice of America. So that's my first life abroad, so to speak. My first stint to live abroad for 3 months in Washington, D.C., in the U.S. The other period I can say I lived in the U.S. was now for a longer period, 1 year, when I went to the U.K. for my master's studies. I was based in the Liverpool. Again, experienced, you know, so many things. You know, when you go abroad, you learn so much. Exactly. Different cultures, many things. You see many things, the infrastructure from a different perspective. So I was in the UK for 1 year. Between October 2004, I graduated in December 2005. So that's 1 year in the UK. But then I've had so many other short trips abroad to various parts of the world.
The reason why I asked you this question was that, I mean, you went abroad, you experienced abroad.
Yeah.
Why you decided that, hey, I need to come back home and start up something. I need to come back home to make a difference. Why?
Oh yes, because many people then would want to stay. And I had friends, when I went to the US for the first time, stayed there for 3 months, there are people are telling, this is a gift God gave you. I mean, a golden opportunity God gave you. Don't go back home. Don't go back, remain. I almost remained. I kept asking me, should I not? Because people would say, you know, you remain in America, your life will change for the better. But, so I had two thoughts. Eventually I decided, no, one, this is an exchange program, and I would violate that privilege I got from the American people by staying, because my visa required me to come back to Kenya. So I came back on 31st December the year 2000, and I never regret, because that sort of was the pillar or the seed that made who I am. Why? Things kept opening up, and if I required to go back to the US, it was easy getting a visa. Yeah. I mean, eventually I went back to cover the 2008 election. Even in between, before the 2008 election, it was easy for me to go to the US. Then getting certain, you know, assignments with the US related bodies and so on. Why? Because I respected that first visa. If I violated that first visa, probably, I mean, it would not be the same. I would not be doing what I'm doing. And I said, I'll go back to my country. I love my country.
What has been the major challenge in the field of your work so far? The major challenge?
As an independent producer, I run a business like any other, so I have employees. One, you know, now management, learning, because I used to be a reporter, but now I'm a CEO. Yeah. So dealing with the normal challenges of running a company, you know what I mean. You have to be tax compliant. Your employees want salary, probably some of your suppliers have not yet paid, you know. So the normal challenges of running a business, that's what I'm going through, and it's normal in even big challenges. I mean, sorry, even in big organizations. What's the other? Of course, and then times change. I mean, there are times business is good, there are times business is not bad. There are times you get into challenges that, like the COVID-19 pandemic. It was tough at the beginning, but I would say eventually we became beneficiaries of the COVID-19 pandemic, because there are many organizations which are now doing communication around COVID-19. And the fact that we were able to now get a number of clients who wanted us to do content for them to go on TV related to COVID. You know, people know me for Daring Abroad, but there's much more than we do. I mean, there's much more than Daring Abroad. Yeah. Daring Abroad is a series that runs on NTV every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. and repeated Sunday at 1:30 p.m. But we do documentaries. We have another series with the Cooperative Bank of Kenya that focuses on cooperatives. Also, it's a cooperative bank production. They pay us for production, they pay for the airtime. I can list and list, but those are some of the products we do. So when you ask about challenges, they are business related like any other business.
industry for 20 good years.
Yes.
And for me, I just want to know, what has been one of your most impactful story that you've ever covered?
In general, or the Daring Abroad series?
In general.
In general. Impactful. Okay, let me answer this way. My most memorable and impactful maybe to my career, or just the turning point, was the coverage of the US elections in the year 2008. The elections that brought in Barack Obama. I mean, every Kenyan was watching. At that time, I was working for Citizen TV, Royal Media Services. For the first time, I was able to go live with the support from the Voice of, remember the connection with the Voice of America. At that time, going live on Kenyan TV, it was really, I mean, but you have Alex Chamwada and the anchor here in Nairobi saying, we now join Alex Chamwada live. The moment I came on air live, the anchor introducing me, they almost broke the screens. I mean, when I heard those stories, and even I was getting feedback, it really impacted on me and the growth of, I would say, international journalism from Kenyan perspective. I mean, it's just amazing. But even before I reached there, I mean, in 2004 when I was studying, I was able to do stories from abroad and sending footage, you know, by Kenya Airways. So I was living in Liverpool, and I was my own cameraman. Put camera on the stand, and then turn the LCD, go in front, see if it's okay. You've already pressed the button, you know, you stand, welcome to Liverpool, where, I mean, and then you finish your sign out, go turn off, and then people in the streets are wondering, this guy, what is he okay? So those are the stories that really made who I am. The modernized and expanded commuter rail service is expected to be launched soon, with Kenya Railways assuring Nairobi commuters and Kenyans at large that this is sustainable. Viewers will agree with me that no one covered The Hague. No, it's not good to praise yourself, but I'll need to do this. Yes, now come to Daring Abroad. One story that people keep talking about whenever I meet people is the Kenyan in Botswana who is doing beef farming. He's called Willie Kathurima. He had at that time 1,000 beef cattle, and you know, modernized beef farming practices. There are things they call feedlots. I know it's a desert, you know, and he's exporting beef to the EU, and he told me many things, that the beef sector in Botswana grew because of experts from Kenya. I mean, it's Kenyans who went to make beef farming in Botswana what it is, and they're able to export to EU. Amazing, and everyone keeps talking about that story. We've had people calling me looking for his contact to visit his farm, including the current Speaker of the National Assembly. He became such a great person. So those are some of the impact stories. I don't know if I've answered your question.
You've answered my question, but I've never been to Botswana yet. So his name is Joshua, eh?
Willie Kathurima. Willie Kathurima. Yeah, WODEMAYA is coming. WODEMAYA is coming. Yeah, you better prepare a big bowl for him. What drives me? I mean, it's the fulfillment. When I get feedback from people, when I hear that my stories have impact, it just keeps me going. And what do I mean? My stories are non-controversial. So I keep building networks. People like what I'm doing. And I land in the US, everyone will be like, I want to meet Chamwada. Oh, I mean, come, I'll host you. I have 2 free rooms. I mean, come with your camera person. Another one, I'll pick you from the airport. And by the way, we've extended Daring Abroad. It's not just about Kenyans, even Nigerians here. Like I featured Mama Shanti, but Mama Shanti is West African. I think the directors are from both Nigeria and Ghana and Nigeria. You see, Mama Shanti, they appeared on Daring Abroad. You are going to appear on Daring Abroad.
Before I let you go, my final question is, how many countries have you been so far?
Wow. Hey, in Africa I can say about 20. Across the world, I need to count. I don't know. I would say almost every corner of the world. I don't know how many, but I've been to Asia. I've been to, of course, Africa, US, Europe. I mean, every corner of the world. I need to start counting. I don't think we have that time. Every corner of the world.
Now, let me know, yeah, if you had the chance to change one thing in Africa, what would that be?
Wow. One is we need to believe in ourselves. If I had the chance to change in Africa, I would say we have great potential. You see, when I meet people abroad, be it Nigerians, Ghanaians, Kenyans, South Africans, huge potential, and the fact that we are able to contribute to global development, we are there in the world. Look, you have a Kenyan who has contributed to what you see in London, decongesting London, the systems you see in London. You have Kenyans who have contributed to, very many scientific innovations. You have Kenyans working for Tesla, managers. Yeah. You have Kenyans managing big hotels in the US. I'm just talking about Kenyans because they are my people, but I would say Ghanaians, Nigerians, South Africans. So we should really believe in ourselves and put in place systems that would enable us reap the benefits of this human capital. That you may find someone in London is saying, I can't be able to do what I'm doing in Kenya because of poor governance, because of corruption, because of ABCD. So what I mean is we need to put in place systems that enable our people to really put their full potential into use, and Africa will really grow. So I think it's all about governance, it's about systems, it's about believing in ourselves, it's about nurturing what we've gotten abroad to practice it here and make Africa great. And we shouldn't be seen as a lesser continent to others. We shouldn't be seen as a lesser race to others. Look, Barack Obama, of African origin, was president of the US. So I would want Africa to believe in itself and put in place systems to grow.
But I believe that the time is now for each and every African, both in Africa and outside Africa, to make Africa home again. I want to say thank you so much for sharing your story with me, and I hope your story will inspire so many young generation to go out there to make a change that we're looking for. If you have a final message for the youth of Africa, what would that be?
Wow, the youth of Africa, I don't want to say you are the leaders of tomorrow. No, you are the leaders of today. Believe in yourself and don't wait to be assisted to do anything. You can do it, just pick something and follow your passion. People have challenges. It doesn't mean anyone who has excelled and has become a top business person, it doesn't mean they had everything at hand. No, work hard, whichever skill, whether you are a musician, whether you are a boda rider. From boda rider, you could find yourself owning a fleet of taxis. Believe in yourself and remember to subscribe to WODEMAYA's YouTube channel. That's where you'll get a lot of inspiration. And
don't forget that we have Cham's Media on YouTube. Make sure you go out there and subscribe. And you know how we do it. It's always by force to subscribe to the channel.
And it's all free. People think you'll be charged.
No, you're not going to pay anything. It's free to subscribe. They're not even going to charge you $1. So make sure you subscribe and be part of this awesome families and be able to be ready to be inspired.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
It was a pleasure.
Same here.
Yeah, bye-bye.